Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's the prodigious, it's the prominent professor at Proclamation News and Gatherance. Absolutely populism is coming up to the Christmas week. The Christmas week. We're coming through this evening. We're actually coming together to support the show. We're building all so much. I'm the capital P in proclamation. I'm the capital P in professor. I'm the capital P in persuasion. I'm the capital P in proposive. I'm the capital P in propaganda. I'm a capital P in progressive. Capital P in progression. Absolutely populism. Thank you so much for coming through this evening, ladies and gents. We've got so much to get through today. Life as it seems. Look at life as it seems. I mean, if someone asked you your outlook at life, you're looking at all the natural resources, you're looking at pollution that could, explode the ozone at any given time. You're looking at how the absolute sovereignty of the land are putting taxes on fuel emissions. People driving old cars older than, 2000. The taxes are higher to get a car taxed. For the fumigated exhausts. You've got catalytic converters, you've got electric vehicles to stop the ozone layer from erupting. Looking at modernisation of the industrialisation world that we live in. People don't give a thought of our kids growing up. People don't recycle. We've got recycle bins. We've got people fly tipping, getting takeaways, eating monotonous takeaways in their car and letting their kids throw their litter out the window. Taking the kids to a seaside resort, finding that ice cream wrapper on the floor, the sweet wrappers on the floor. This all adds to the ozone layer. Also, litter goes into the sea, kills our fisheries. We're talking about fishery rights, aren't we? Coming out of the EU, going in with the Brexit, so we can catch 50% of our fish to let our natural resources expand. Before we move on, as it stands today, where we are sitting today, it's 68.054,627. There's 68,054,627 people in the population in the United Kingdom. And it's 28,407 people tested positive with COVID. This was recorded on the 2nd of December. Is it a tenth of our population? Who's good at maths? Is it a tenth of our population? We're going into tier 4 as we come into Christmas, I hear. Going to tier 4. I mean, we was in tier 2 the other day in Essex. And supposedly his talks is going into the tier 4 system. What we been doing at Christmas? I mean, do you think Parliament is doing an adamant job, a sensible, pragmatic and optimistic job to make sure we're taking restrictions? Taking restrictions properly. I mean, a lot of people going out of bounds, doing what they want as they please, ruining Christmas for the likes of myself. I sit here day in, day out, giving you great provided news for the sake of living, for the sake of waking up, for the sake of having. I've compassion to give you the news. I've compassion to give you the update of what's going on. This is what I want to do. This is me. But besides my artwork, I mean, let's look at the world as it seems. I mean, I've been in and out of church all my life. I went to Church of England school when I was a kid. I went to Wolf Primary School in Thorpe Soaken. It was assigned to the Church of England. I mean, growing up through religious studies and other stuff in life, having a flick through the Bible, studying the Bible. Man is destroyer of the earth. course, man's destroyed the earth. We're looking at the ozone layer. We're looking at industrialisation, the pollution industrialisation brings. Population growth. How can we control population growth? Every year, I've been looking at statistics, there's about 2 million people added to our population in the United Kingdom. I mean, to come. How are we going to build wider? We're not going to be able to build wider in 10 years to come, 20 years to come, 30 years to come for our children. We're building above and beyond, like skyscrapers. Are we going to be driving all electric cars coming 10, 20, 30 years? Trying to save the ecosystem, trying to make it eco-friendly for everyone. Are they going to demolish fuel cars? It's not just cars, is it? You've got lorries. Can you make lorries? You know, there's so many cylinders to get them moving. Can we make lorries electric? Can we make lorries? I know there's one being made. Is it powerful enough to run all the lorries, electric lorries we're talking about? Absolute phenomenal, ladies and gents. Thank you all for coming through. Hello there, Carcass. Thank you for coming through. Really appreciate it. If everyone's listening, I'm on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're top 10% on Castbox. Absolute populism. Got loads of people coming through. I'm going to go to this headline right now. This headline is it's bothering me. It's bothering me. This headline is bothering me at the moment. Before we go to this headline, I just want to, give you guys a thought. I mean, I don't think if anyone's even thought of signing up to party politics. What can you do if you help shape up Britain, donating a bit of money? Well, first of all, you can save your health, couldn't you? Rather than buying a beer or your usual narcotics on the weekend, why don't you put £15 into your local government to support the nation? With extra further policing, more infrastructure, You're donating your money to a good cause. Rather than donating your money down the pub to buy a next pint for your life of purgatory. Your life of purgatory, you're sitting down a pub with your mates. That, your condolences, you're downing your condolences in alcohol or narcotics. You're downing your life of purgatory to alcohol and narcotics. And there are people sitting here saying, you've got people sitting here scrutinizing what I'm even trying to present. I'm trying to present real statistics that we're building back better. Let's put more jobs online in future years to come. We're coming out of COVID soon. Trying to get this Brexit finalised. Trying to put more work back into the UK. You've got to think what Conservative stands for. It's traditional. Everything's lower taxed. More work. It's all about equalities. Equal opportunities. Get back some of the rights within the UK. That's exactly what you could be donating your money towards. And why not get involved? Sign up for Conservative. It's £25 a month. For likes of me, it's £25 a month. I think if you're ex-armed forces or armed forces, £15 a month. And I think it's about the same for youth as well. So it's well worth signing up. You don't have to be conservative, whatever your politics, but conservative is traditional. Absolutely. Bona fide conservatism. Exactly what it says on the tin. Anyway, looking at the main headlines. Do you think Boris Johnson's doing a good job as Prime Minister? I mean, who else could do a better job? Let's be realistic. He's promoting extra police working. He's promoting better infrastructure. I mean, what other Prime Minister could do a better job? He's been in the game over 37 years. He's got the knowledge, he's got the wisdom, he's pragmatic, he's optimistic. I mean, what could you tell me any different? Could you tell me a Sir Keir Starmer could do it better when all he's trying to do is fight his anti-Sentinels and mates off out of the Labour Party? In the next breath, in one breath, he's all sticking up for Jeremy Corbyn, saying what a great leader he is. Next breath, he's made him resign. But he's back in there again now. So, realistically, he's contradicting himself. Would you vote for a contradiction leader? Would you vote for a contradiction leader? Ask yourself that. And ask yourself, are you clued up? Ask yourself, are you being inappropriate? Are you being incompetent? Are you being incomprehensible? Ask yourself that. Anyway, look at the headline. Next headline. Epstein ex-associate. Jean-Luc Brunel. Epstein's ex-associate, Jean-Luc Brunel, placed under formal investigation. A former associate of deceased US financer and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has been placed under formal investigation and remanded in custody in France on suspicion of sex crimes. French modelling agent Jean-Luc Brunel is accused of sexual harassment and the rape of minors aged between 15 and 18. Mr. Brunel, 74, has denied wrongdoing. Epstein died in New York prison last year as he awaited trial over allegations he ran a network using underage girls for sex. This is what the victims have been waiting for many years, said lawyer Anne Claire Lejeune, who is representing Mr. Brunel's accusers. Mr. Brunel was detained at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport on Wednesday as he was preparing to board a flight to Senegal. He co-founded French modelling agency Cameron Models in 1977 and MC2 Model Management in the US with funding from Epstein. US court documents allege that Mr. Brunel procured girls for Epstein, flying them from France to the US and promising them modelling contracts. Virginia Guilfrey, one of the main complaints in Epstein's prosecution, also claims to have been forced into sex with Mr. Brunel. This is what you've got to be careful if the son or your daughter wants to become the next model. This is not just what you see today. It's happening all the time, these kind of things. His arrest is the result of an inquiry by the French prosecutors into rape and sexual assault allegations against Epstein, focusing on potential crimes committed against French victims and suspects who are French citizens. I mean, you can pay into these model management things and you don't necessarily get to work as well. It's another thing. French police last year raided the offices of Cameron Models and a flat near the Arc de Triomphe owned by Epstein. You've got to remember, money is a powerful thing, and money can bribe a lot of your youth of today to just use your knowledge when you're taking your kids a modelling scheme. There is literally a scheme, so be careful. Before his death, Epstein was charged in New York with sex trafficking and conspiracy and was awaiting trial. He was already a convicted sex offender, having pleaded guilty to prostitution charges involving a minor in Florida in 2008. I mean, if any of you guys hear of any, your daughter or your son getting rooted into some modelling program, please feel free to give me an email and we'll look into it, seek justice, because they're not what it says on the tin. They're never what it says on the tin. They're either going to rape you for your money or rape you for your daughter or your son. So think adamantly, think pragmatic about the job. They want to take £500 to take your kid on board. They want to charge you £500 to take your child on board for this modelling program. If you think your child might get working into it, look at the statistics. You're giving them you give me £500. A few months down later, I'll get you one job, and then it runs out. That £500, you haven't earned none of that back. You've been ripped off. So if you want to give me an email, you're writing about this, you can email me at Proclamation News and Gavrans, all one word, Proclamation News and Gavrans at yahoo.com. Exactly the same as my YouTube name, exactly the same as my Castbox name. That's where you'll find me. Epstein sex trafficking case. 2005, one of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims, age 14, reports him to the police in Palm Beach. 2006, Epstein is charged with unlawful sex attacks with a minor. 2007, a plea deal is struck. Instead of facing federal sex trafficking charges, Epstein pleads guilty to charges of soliciting prostitution, including with a minor. 2008, Epstein gets an 18-month sentence following the plea deal. 19th November 2018, the Miami Herald publishes an investigation into Epstein, the plea deal, and the dozens of women alleging abuse. Dozens of women. That's talking about over 12. That's, shock. Absolute shock. Epstein is arrested again, accused of sex trafficking of underage girls over a number of years. August the 19th, Epstein is found dead in his prison cell, awaiting trial. If you're dead, your trial is no longer, just so you know, if anyone's listening. 2nd of July 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite, a friend of Epstein, is arrested at their New Hampshire home. 14th of July 2020, Miss Maxwell pleads not guilty to charge of trafficking minors for Epstein, is denied bail. You think Prince Andrew was friends with Epstein? You kind of feel sorry for him. You kind of feel sorry for him, do you? He's got all these accusations clear as day and all top headlines. We're talking about the top headlines. BBC News, Guardian, Daily Mail. He's all over the headlines day in, day out, this Epstein guy. All his allegations. Prince Andrew's friends with him. Prince Andrew was part of one of the accusations. He was 40 years of age, supposedly said with a 40-year-old. So the royal family is a bit of an upset for the Queen. I mean, my granddad fought underneath a Queen, made in Chelsea, Queen's Grenadier Guard, same as my cousin Jonathan. To know that that's wrapped around it, we all wrapped around it. I was wrapped around it at school. I was raised at school, and a few pupils at school turned out to be a bit deranged. I won't go into too much detail, put names out there, but we hear stories as we grow up. You're thinking, I can't believe I was around that. I mean, everyone at every school, or it's like my children, they probably be up around school and hope to high heavens they don't get mixed upon them sort of people. Really do. For 1 minute, I can hold my hand in the heart. I know my kids would not do such a distraught thing. The way I've been brought up with respect, honour, and obey. Anyway, flooding homes evacuated after southwest downpours. Fire crews were pumping water. I mean, this is a distraught in the southwest for downpours. The downpours, the drains cannot take the water. Fire crews were pumping water out of houses through the night after flooding forced people to evacuate their homes. Several people in Witham, Cornwall, had to spend the night in a community centre, while 18 people had to abandon their caravans at Not a Bridge near South Ash. The fire service called in water rescue units from Devon after 35 minutes of rain fell in just 24 hours. The flood risk is reduced over the weekend. Saltash Community Fire Station said both of its pumps were sent in 2 separate incidents on Friday, with both appliances pumping water until 4 GMT on Saturday. East Cornwall search and rescue was sent out near Gallifia Falls at 7 GMT on Friday after reports of a driver trapped by floodwater. They also helped evacuate residents of Witham at Nottingbridge. Fortunately, there were no injuries reported, but there is still a lot of flood water around this morning. So please take extra care, especially if you're on the roads, added. In the Environment Agency, teams are clearing screens to keep rivers flowing and local about 6:30. We were called to a property at the end of Witham, which was flooding, says the firefighter Steve Strass. 2 people were taken out of there with 2 dogs, and we've now been pumping out ever since, he added. We're short of available operators tonight to help keep the screens clear as rivers flowing, said Nick Ely, from the Environment Agency. I'm not needed at the moment in my duty role, so I'm out with a team tonight helping and just cleared a tree trunk, he's added. Areas hit by the downpours on Friday are set to start face lighter rain over the weekend, with the flood risk reduced. You can see the water they're pumping out. I mean, some of these houses under of water. The Met Office said the band of wet weather could gradually make for sunshine and lighter showers across the whole nation throughout the weekend. I mean, there's talks of up the North Way, there is talks of snow, a white Christmas. So, you know, if it does hit down this area, they could be in some serious trouble. They could be in some serious trouble, ladies and gents. Absolutely serious trouble. Thank you all for listening. We're going to have a short break. It's been quite a nice show today. Quite a nice show. Quite a nice long show. Hiccups. We're going to have a Christmas special, as always, for the next few days. Thank you so much for listening.
You better stay in, you better not fight, you better wear masks, I'm telling you why. Boris Johnson's locking you down. He's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's moved on a lot from promo and likes. Boris Johnson's locking you down. He hears you and you're coughing while on that shopping spree. So stay indoors, click and collect, or I'll put you in tier 3. So you better not sneer, you better not jest, you better not have that 7th house kiss. Boris Johnson's locking you down.
Thank you all for coming through, ladies and gents. Thank you, Supercell. Thank you, Anna.
I'm back to serving booze, which Boris said can go ahead if they serve it up with food. So sing happy birthday and sing it twice while washing your hands upon his advice. Boris Johnson's locking you down. And don't be a putz, don't be a fool. COVID spreads more in pubs than school. Boris Johnson's locking. Boris Johnson's locking. Boris Johnson's locking you down.
Thank you so much. Just before I go on, ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube and Castbox, I've got a great friend coming through, Supercell. Welcome, Supercell. Hope you're well. I'm just doing my live journal, Supercell, and I'm going to have a sing-song with the Castbox and YouTube audience. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm just looking at life as it seems. In UK, I mean, UK itself, I don't know about US, Canada, and all that. I don't know what their population is, but in the UK itself, 68,507 people, 68,507 people in the UK. Look at our natural resources. You know, we're looking at our meat. We're looking at meat. We're looking at veg, the farms. Looking at meat as well, the produce, natural resource, natural produce. How can we keep multiplying? How can we keep revenerating the natural resources? How can we keep doing it if we keep expanding? Are we going to expand natural resources? Because if we're building population, we're building houses, we're taking up natural resources. So in the end, we're going to run out. In the end, as the Bible says, the destroyer of the world will be man-made. Absolutely right in every sense. So I mean, how can you make it? How can we make it countable? If we want to be Prime Minister, we want to sit in the House of Commons. We want to be Prime Minister. How can we make everyone accountable for their actions. You know, we've got the industrialisation, we've got environmental friendly, we've got all these ideas, but we've got population growth. How can you stop population growth? Coronavirus, swine flu. We can't, you know, can we just keep having these major disasters? Sooner or later, it could be our parents, our loved ones, their lives get taken. You know, their time's up. They've got to that age where they've got to give up their life. Or it could be me or you. It could be likes of me or you. We've had our life, had everything. We've got to die of something tragic. Coronavirus, swine flu, foot and mouth, mad cow disease. Come on, it's Christmas, you know. It's supposed to be Thanksgiving. We spend it with loved ones. Could be last. I mean, it's worrying times, isn't it? Worrying times. Could be our last Christmas with our loved ones. It might be our last Christmas, mine and yours. Could be our sons or our daughters. We don't know. We all take life for granted. All take life for granted. I've done boxing. You know, I've done boxing with a head injury. I died 3 times when I was 18. I mean, you know, I'm not asking you to play violins. I'm not asking for compassion because I know there's always someone worse off around the corner. I've got many friends in the boxing industry. I've boxed with a lot worse brain damage than what I've had. People boxing with cerebral palsy, and you know, I don't want to say names, but there's some phenomenal people out there have been heroes. Other than myself, it's been people in the army with cerebral palsy and whatever else. You know, any other Down syndrome, this, that, and the other. So I'm not alone in, you know, when it comes to being lucky in this world. I'm not alone when it comes to being lucky. You know, I'm not trying to ask for violin, just saying. So I'm not trying to be narcissistic as such, because it is my show. It's going to sound narcissistic anyway. But anyway, moving on. What we're looking for as we're moving on: Christmas rules. Christmas rules. Given up by the Prime Minister. Christmas rules tighten nationwide and London, South East and East put into Tier 4. I mean, we was in Tier 2, so I don't know quite how that's going to affect us. Boris Johnson's announced stricter lockdown rules for England amid fears over a new variant of coronavirus. Boris Johnson has announced strict coronavirus restrictions. The South East and East also placed under a new Tier 4. It comes amid fears a new variant of COVID-19 is spreading more rapidly across parts of the country. Speaking at a Downing Street press conference on Saturday, the Prime Minister said the variant could be up to 7% more transmissible than the original variant. People living in Tier 4 areas will be banned entirely from mixing households over Christmas. In all other areas of England, Christmas bubbles will only be permitted on Christmas Day itself. The government had previously told people 3 households would be allowed to mix for 5 days between the 23rd and December 27th, under the new Tier 4 rules, which will come into force from Sunday. People will be ordered to stay at home by law and non-essential retail will shut. In Tier 4 areas, one person won't be allowed to meet another person, not in their household, and it must be outside. Travel will be banned into and out of the Tier 4 areas. The new rules will be reviewed after 2 weeks. Tier 4 restrictions will apply in the current Tier 3 areas in South East, covering Kent, Buckinghamshire, Berkshire, Surrey, excluding Waverley and Gosport, Havant, Portsmouth, Rother and Hastings. So I'm very lucky, very, very lucky. It will also apply in London, all 32 boroughs and the City of London and the East of England, Bedford, Central Bedford, Milton Keynes, Luton, Peterborough, Hertfordshire, Essex, excluding Colchester. So that I'm okay. Uttersford and Tendring. Whitty, England's chief medical officer, has said there is no evidence the new variant of the virus is more deadly or will affect the vaccine, but it cannot spread more quickly. Johnson, who's just 3 days ago said preventing people sending Christmas with friends and family would be inhumane, said he was taking just the action now with a very heavy heart. I know how much emotion people invest in this time of year and how important it is, for instance, for grandparents to see their grandchildren, for families to be together, he said. So I know how disappointing this will be, he says. But we have said throughout this pandemic that we must and will be guided by the science. When the science changes, we must change our response. Exemptions to stay at home messages, which applied in November lockdown, will also apply in a new Tier 4, including support bubbles, childcare bubbles, and children whose parents are separated. People will be allowed to travel for education, childcare, and to go to work if they cannot work from home, and now will be permitted unlimited outdoor exercise. In Wales, level 4 lockdown restrictions will be brought forward to apply across the country from Sunday, and festive bubbles can be formed from Christmas Day only. First Minister Mark Drakeford also announced on Saturday. We're getting through this quite swiftly. We're going to have a nice sing-song after. It's Christmas. I feel festive. I might do an hour singing. See how I feel. I'm waiting for my new microphone to turn up. Hopefully it's here by Monday. We sacrificed our religious festives and Jews. Talk about the emptiest year imaginable and emotional toy of having their celebrations cancelled. I mean, me at minute, being a Christian, going to church, it's nice to be in a church. I'm very Muslim, I think about ethos is a word. Ethos is a word, ladies and gents. From Diwali, Bandur, Shore, Divyas, and Fiashaki to Rosh Hashanah and Hanukkah, to Ramadan and Eid, millions of people from different faiths have had their festivals cancelled this year. But Christmas, as we all know, will be different. I'm not the type of person who thinks we didn't have a festival, so you shouldn't have yours, and that would be petty. May Batul, a healthcare student living in Derby, tells HuffPost UK, I know how disappointing it was and don't want Christmas to be cancelled, as I don't want people to be deprived of what Muslims, Jews and Hindus and Sikhs were. But it's dangerous and stinks of exceptionalism. This week, Boris Johnson said to cancel Christmas would be inhumane and against the instincts of many people of this country. But the many people who don't celebrate Christian festivals, the Prime Minister's words have only cemented feelings for otherness. COVID doesn't take time or no, it's Christmas, says Anika Hussain, 24. It doesn't discriminate in the sense of religion. Even though it's really difficult making these sacrifices, we all have to think of the other people. Anika, 24, a Muslim, usually spends Eid with her family who live in Sweden, but this year, Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr took place when the UK was in the grip of the first lockdown. It was the first time in life I wasn't able to be with my family for Eid, which was really difficult amid Anika, an administrator at Bath Spa University and a children's author. It was tough being away from my family. When I phoned them, my mum was heartbroken and crying. Instead, Anika come up with an alternative, Eid, and did a Zoom call with her friend's family while eating pizza. It's really difficult on Zoom as people talk over each other and the connection often drops out. It wasn't anything like having my mum's home cooking dishes. Anika sympathises with people who have missed out on their religious festivals and understand that Christmas it is as important as family time, but she feels the government's messaging has been insensitive. It is unjustified and unfair to treat Christmas differently, she said. It gives you a feeling of otherness and makes you feel worse when you're already a minority. Yes, it's hard making sacrifices and not seeing family and friends, but I've done it, so have so many people. We don't think of vulnerable people rather than being selfish. If people have big gatherings at Christmas, coronavirus rates will spike again and we'll be in an endless cycle of lockdown. For Muslims in some parts of the country, Eid at the end of July was cancelled with just a few hours' notice after the government suddenly imposed new lockdown rules forbidding separate households from meeting. The last minute cancellation of Eid seemed very serious, callous, as most people would have already bought all the food and prepared a lot of cooking, said May Battle, 20, a healthcare student living in Derby. They should have at least been given more notice. May and her family be the best of the situation and decorated their home and painted their hands with henna. They also made sweet jars to post to friends and family. May has been in touch with Tough Post in the UK that while she was disappointed, she understands why cancelling Eid was necessary. This makes it more difficult for her to fathom why restrictions are being lifted for Christmas. It feels very irresponsible when the data seems to suggest there will be a spike in deaths in late December and January, she said. We could have saved Christmas and festivals long ago if the government had handled this pandemic properly and had a better test and trace system. I mean, could you blame the government for how things are? We open up things, then we relax things, open up things, then relax things. I mean, you got all the critics, people protesting, causing riots, and want to go back to normal. They want everything open all the time. Now, we've got these lockdowns and people are still going to social gatherings, acting inappropriate, incomprehensible, incompetent, going to local raves, local parties. They're breaking the rule of six and making 12 people. They're doing videos on Facebook, getting caught on Facebook, you're getting caught on Snapchat video. You've got police activity watching all your accounts, your social media, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat. I mean, you can see me every day sitting here. I might pop to my mum's once a week. My mum, dad, elderly people, they need my support. That's my support, Bob. I'm allowed in it. But that's all I do. I don't go and social drink. I don't go and socialise. This is my social network in front of me. Castbox, YouTube. I mean, I might be slight brain damage through what happened in 2000, but I also had a big support from the boxing network, professional boxing. I went to support another younger generation who's also got brain damage as well. One of my offsprings, So I took sacrifices to support my own family. But I don't go and socialise. I had a big social network when I used to box, a lot of support for what I've done, put my head on the line. So I don't go and socialise with all them inappropriate people. They like to socialise, like to drink, like to take narcotics, like to go down a pub, like to go clubbing, like gossip. My gossip is what's in front of me, the propaganda. What I provide you with, what I want you to support. Why don't people? I get all support for what I do here. People would rather support me, get my 10 bells of knocked out of me. 10 bells of whatever knocked out of me. People would rather support that. A man is half-brained, they're supporting in an almost impossible sport for him to survive. I get more support for that than I do for decent propaganda. I'm sitting here like a mini Piers Morgan. I'm not over pragmatic. I'm not over optimistic, but I've got quite a lot of sense. I see things clearly. When I've got qualitative evidence, I make sure you hear it. I make sure I put my idea across. We've all got ideas, opinions. All our voices should be heard. But if you haven't got the guts to do it, I've been doing this for over 2 years now. Castbox for over 2 years. YouTube's been doing since 2018. I've got a lot of confidence to speak out. Your voice needs to be heard. It's very hypocritical and unfair to relax the rules for Christmas after the way they handled everyone else's festivals. Devout Sikhi Mandeep Singh, who lives in Southall, told HuffPost UK that despite constantly preaching, we are all in this together. The government's actions around Christmas show favouritism to one faith. Where is the equality, asked? Culturally, it hasn't treating people the same. it is not a level playing field when we have all made huge sacrifices year. I mean, like I say, ethos qualities should be supported straight down the middle, but I don't sit there and justify the difference. Just get on with it. Just get on with it. You know, there's hatred in every society. There's hatred in every culture. But you won't see me in the mainstream media mixing my races because it's a monstrosity. I'm on stereo. You hear the Americans saying so much racism going over there. I don't see it. Keep yourself to yourself. Do be the best you can be. You know, be prosperous when prosperity matters. Inspire, not expire. Anything negative, let it go over your head. Move on. Don't start preaching that your life needs justice. I need justice in my life. I've been living in this absolute sacrifice ever since I was 18. I don't want to see this subject coming up all the time. I don't hear people talking about it all the time. People want to get involved. You've got the critics getting involved. They're going to write you off. People like myself. I've got every single nationality in my family. I support every single nationality. I'm friendly. If they've got, hold a good conversation, I support them. Nice people. Just get on with our day-to-day regime. I respect you. Doesn't matter where you are, what colour you are, what race you are. If you're pink, blue, purple, yellow, black, brown, whatever. It's just a colour. It's what's beneath the skin that matters. And how you handle yourself out of your skin that matters. Your mental impairment, the way you approach people, the way you imagine yourself. Everyone's got that imagination of themselves, what they want them to be. It's the way you approach that imaginable self. You've got two routes in life. You've got the route of a purity as can be, like Jesus. The word of Jesus comes to mind. However you take that word of Jesus. If he's taken religious or atheist, but Jesus is a word, nevertheless. He's a man of purity. Or you got your Al Capones in life. You've got two routes in life. What route do you want to be? Do you want to be inspired or expired? Got a craze. They died. They're expired. They're expired. The Craze twins. Al Capone, all dead. They're expired. They're not inspired. Good Jesus lives on. The Bible lives on. The Bible lives on. Great speaker, but great Tony speaker. If he was a speaker or a preacher, or if it was a myth for you atheists, he's still a man of worship. He's still a man of honour. He's still a man of inspiredness, not expire. Like Boris Johnson, he's not going to be a man of expire, is he? Look at Nelson Mandela. Man of inspiration. He's beloved by more people than hated by less. Boris remembered by this coronavirus, unfortunately, but it's not his fault, is it? This coronavirus is not Boris Johnson's fault. It's every prime minister. If that's the case, every prime minister and politician, every politician's fault. It's not. It's wherever it's come from. It could be an act of God to control population growth slightly. Mandeep, 42, a primary school teacher who lives with his wife and his mother, says the Sikh community experienced a very different Vaisakhi. One of the highlights of their religious calendar in April during the height of coronavirus crisis. There would normally have been a large street festival in the Vaisakhi in Southall, and people would have congregated in Gurdwaras throughout the day with prayers, singing, lots of food and communal meal. But all this just disappeared globally due to coronavirus. Mandeep says the Sikhs missed out on many other festivals, including Bandi Chor Divas, known as the Day of Liberation and the Diwali in November. This would usually have seen fireworks, gatherings and gurdwaras and families mingling in homes. But as these festivals occurred during the second lockdown, none of this could happen. It has been the emptiest year imaginable, said Mandeep. People feel they've lost part of their faith. The most recent Sikh celebration, again a subdued affair, was Gurpurab, who took place on Monday, November the 30th, during the second lockdown. Gurpurab celebrates the birth of founder of Guru Nanak, says the equivalent of Christmas celebrating the birth of Jesus, said Mandeep. He is horrified coronavirus restrictions are being relaxed for Christmas despite the warnings of scientists and medics. Not only is relaxing the rules of a very unjust thing to do, it is totally reckless, he said. The worst time of the virus to spread is during the winter months. The Sikhs have had to miss their celebrations, and people from other faiths have had to miss theirs. So why is Christmas any different? You don't want this Christmas to be your relative's final Christmas. Sherpa Jane Khanna, an actress, dancer and engineer, has lived in the UK for 9 years since moving from Mumbai. She and husband Yash and Hindus, and being so far from India, celebrating festivals with friends is usually extremely important to them. You know how people go celebrate their Christmas. You go to you're supposed to be an appropriate adult or teenager, growing up to be an adult. You got parents. Could be your parents' last Christmas. So you're going out your way, for instance, going and making girlfriends, getting blottoed on alcoholism and narcotics. How do you think your parents feel? No, it could be their last Christmas. They're old age. They're old age. They're OAPs, your parents. Anything above 40 with this current climate. They're OAPs with this current climate. Could be their last Christmas. It's a worry for everyone. You're getting older. Your immune system's getting weaker. And you're, in your 18s, 20s, older than 20, you should be responsible for your actions, really. I mean, if you're going out getting, going out with alcohol, narcotics, your parents could be rushed into hospital. You're none of the wiser. You wake up Christmas Day, a week later, you've had this hangover all week. Oh, I don't want to get, come in, in front of my parents. It's anxiety. They're going to notice I've had a drink. They're going to notice I took narcotics the night before. You've got to face your parents on Christmas Day. You might not face them for your silly actions. All down to your inappropriate, incompetent, incomprehensible self. And I'm not being rude. I mean, I'm saying it from a realistic point of view. Me sitting in this chair, amid my voice as an opinion towards the audience. Your parents might want to say their last goodbye to their beloved son, the one that's been in control of his life, and now it's throwing it down the drain, or daughter. You find it down the drain, you find it down the bottle of a spirit, or the bottom of a narcotic assumption. Your parents will be turning their grave. Your parents are going to be turning their grave, absolutely. Anyway, moving on. Diwali is such a communal festival, and we normally celebrate it with friends, eat together and exchange presents. It is like getting a feeling of home, she explained. But this year, it was just Shipra and her husband, although they tried to celebrate by decorating their home and carrying out prayers. She admits it wasn't the same. Before relaxing the rules for Christmas was announced, Shipra discovered an online petition pushing for any easing of restrictions to apply to all religious events. When she shared it on her social media, she received a backlash from people saying coronavirus wouldn't just go away from one day. I didn't want to party or meet up with lots of people, Sherpa told HuffPost UK. Just meeting some friends in a social bubble while social distancing would have been enough. People would have welcomed this for Diwali or Eid. But now they've relaxed the rules for Christmas for 5 days, allowing 3 households to meet. It makes me feel angry. How can they justify that. As a minority, it makes me feel marginalised. My husband and I come to the UK as he was transferred from work and we pay for our taxes and contribute to the economy. But when sometimes like this happens, it makes me feel less valued like a second-rate citizen. Sure about equality, but it feels like this happens in practice. Fellow Hindu Purava Joe Tangia, 33, who lives in Leicester, told HuffPost UK that hearing coronavirus rules were being relaxed for Christmas felt like a slap in the face. It's not easy for everyone. So you're not in it on your own. When you're feeling at home, you feel it, anxiety's going through the roof. You know your loved one. You don't know how you can get on with being in each other's pockets these days. You're a working family. You go out to work. They say, time apart makes a heart grow fonder. You need each other's pockets. You've got to learn how to put up each other again, like yours when you first got together. It made me realise the UK isn't as inclusive as I thought, she said. As diverse as the UK is, we need to be brutally honest. Diwali and Eid are massive, but no relaxation was made for them. It is all about the commercial aspect of Christmas and wanting people to spend lots of money. To then find they are relaxing everything for Christmas and is deflating. When we got to where we need as a country with the R rate, while I'm doing a lot of hard work now, it doesn't make sense. For the Jewish community, numerous religious festivals where the normal huge communal fairs have also been totally different. In April, there was a Passover, which recalls the exodus of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, and the Pentecost, Shavuot in late April, which commemorates the giving of the Torah, the first 5 books in the Hebrew Bible. Yom Kippur, which is a day of the Atonement, followed by the week-long feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot, and Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, all happened in September, and Hanukkah, an 8-day Jewish festival known as Festival of Lights, is ended on Thursday. Dr. Lindsay Taylor Gorfoltz, who is married with 2 daughters, he's told HuffPost that Judaism is a very communal religion for most festivals. People head to the synagogue, but this hasn't been able to happen for most this year. The one that hit me the hardest was Simchat Torah, which celebrates the public Torah readings. Usually there's a dancing in the synagogue with people holding the Torah scrolls, and it is noisy and exciting. We tried to recreate our own version at home, but it was very difficult. Dr. Taylor Gorfoltz, who was a research fellowship at the University of Manchester and is a lecturer at the King's College in London, says throughout the year, Jews have tried to adapt and capture the essence of our festivals, but it wasn't the same. I feel very sympathetic for anyone facing missing out on their festivals and seeing their families, she said. I don't have this feeling of I couldn't have my festival, so why should they have theirs? As that would be very grumpy attitude. It is safe. I'm glad people will be able to see their loved ones at Christmas. I wish everyone could have their festivals. I hope people are sensible and have a toned down Christmas with their family so we don't see infection rise in a few weeks' time. Rabbi Zivi Solomons, 52, an Orthodox Jew who lives in Reading, told HuffPost UK it is very understandable Christmas is going ahead. He says although it is not his festival, he will be taking advantage to spend time with dear friends. Jewish festivals are important to family and communal occasions, and they were a washout this year as they either happened during lockdown or when restrictions were in place, he said. Passover was hard as the whole point is to open up your homes to people so anyone come and eat. But we can do that. However, there were more upsides as we have had Zoom services and more people have been engaging with them. Rabbi Solomon says, although Christmas is not his festival, he recognises its beauty. I love Christmas lights. The music is beautiful and the sentiment of generosity and peace is wonderful. It is not mine, but I can appreciate it. My heart aches for the Muslim friends who missed out of Eid, and Hindus and the Sikhs who couldn't celebrate Diwali properly. Christmas is about my family for most people, so I think it is really important that Christians can celebrate it. But I also think it's very important that people are sensible and careful and limit what they do until the vaccine is fully rolled out. I mean, the vaccine is going to take an awful lot to get round all the 68 million people in the UK. I don't know what your ideas of the COVID vaccination coming out. It should be mandatory by all means. Should be mandatory by all means. Go a quick break after this one. COVID-19, what we were looking for, the Christmas rules tighten for England, Scotland and Wales. The planned relaxation of COVID rules for Christmas has been scrapped for large parts of the southeast of England and cut to Christmas Day for the rest of England, Scotland and Wales. From midnight, a new Tier 4 will be introduced in areas including London, Kent and Essex and Bedfordshire. Everywhere else in England, Scotland and Wales, relaxed indoor mixing rules are cut from 5 days to Christmas. Those in Tier 4 cannot mix indoors with anyone in their household. Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced the change of England at the Downing Street briefing after scientists said the new coronavirus variant is spreading more rapidly. I've already come up with this in the HuffPost, but I want to give a clear image. Tier 4 restrictions, similar to England's second national lockdown, will apply in all areas. In the southeast, currently in Tier 3, covering Kent, Buckinghamshire, Berkshire, Surrey, excluding Waverley, Gosport, Havant, Portsmouth, Rother and Hastings. They will apply in London, although 32 boroughs and the City of London and the East of England, Bedford, Central Bedford, Milton Keynes, Luton, Peterborough, Hertfordshire, Essex, excluding Colchester, Uttlesford and Tendling. In Scotland, COVID restrictions will only be relaxed on Christmas Day, with mainland Scotland being placed under the tighter restrictions from Boxing Day. In Wales, First Minister Mike Drayford announced that the country will be placed under lockdown from midnight. There are no plans at the moment to change the current Christmas restriction in Northern Ireland. BBC National News understands the country is set to enter a 6-week lockdown from the 26th of December. Coming to the coldest part of the year, January coming into February. London and South East moving to Tier 4. For Tier 4 areas in England, a stay-at-home order has been issued with exemption for those who have to travel to work or education. Social mixing will be cut to meeting one person in a public space. All non-essential retail will have to close, along with hairdressers, nail bars, indoor gyms and leisure facilities. People will be advised not to travel into a Tier 4 area. The restriction will last for 2 weeks, with the first review due on December the 30th. Mr Johnson told the Downing Street briefing, "I know how disappointing this will be, but we have said throughout this pandemic that we must and we will be guided by the science. When the science changes, we must change our response. When the virus changes its methods of attack, we must change our method of defence. And as your Prime Minister, I sincerely believe there is no alternative open up to me." The steep increase in the proportion of coronavirus cases linked to this new variant is strong evidence that it is driving transmission. In London, 28% of cases were as a result of this new mutation in mid-November, but that has now increased to more than 60%. It may explain why during the second lockdown, cases started to increase in London, while in Kent, Tier 3 measures appear to have had little impact in recent weeks. As the England Chief Medical Advisor, Professor Chris Whitty says, "This is a bad moment, but there is also some hope. Mutations happen all the time. There have been thousands of variations to this coronavirus since it emerged, and there is nothing to suggest this cause more serious illness or will hamper the effectiveness of the vaccine." Prime Minister announced 350,000 people had been given the first dose of vaccine in the first 2 weeks of the programme. In the coming weeks, the GB vaccination clinics should increase sixfold, while approval of second vaccine made by Oxford University could pave the way for mass vaccination centres to be set up in sports stadiums and conference centres. That could see 2 million people a week being vaccinated within a matter of months. All the other 65s could be offered a jab. This could start to feel very different, but for now, the slog of the pandemic continues, and for many, it just got harder. Mr. Johnson said that the analysis from the new and emerging respiratory virus threats advisory group, NERV-TAG, suggests the new variant could increase the R number or reproductive rate of virus by 0.4 or more. Although there is considerable uncertainty, it may be up to 7% more transmissible than the old variant, he said. England's chief medical advisor, Professor Chris Whitty, said that while the new variant of coronavirus will make things much worse, if the vaccine works against it, there was room for optimism. He has previously said there is no current evidence to suggest that the new variant causes a higher mortality rate or that it affects vaccines and treatment. Speaking at the Downing Street briefing, he added, I think this is a situation which is going to make things a lot worse, but there are some really optimistic things if you look once we get the vaccine out, assuming the vaccine works against this, which at the moment is the working assumption. Mr. Johnson revealed that 350,000 people in the UK have so far received their first dose of the COVID vaccine. Absolutely phenomenal, ladies and gents, isn't it? I'm just trying to find the just bear with me 2 seconds. 2 seconds, ladies and gents. There we go. I'll give you this introduction for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Proclamation News and Governs. It's with the prodigious, it's the prominent professor at PNG. Why get involved? You want to get involved in politics, but you don't know where to start. Party politics, people politics, help the ecosystem, pollution to our environment. Talk about hydropolitics, anything. You know, you want to take a part. You want to have your voice heard. You want to get involved in environmental friendly and stop pollution to businesses, such as all kinds of business, farming, pollution of the air. You want to get involved. Down to start. Well, I'll give you a bit of detail. Firstly, please subscribe, share. I want more subscribers, more followers. It's the prodigious, the prominent professor at PNG. How to get involved. Speak to one of your local constituency MPs. I'm a Conservative trainee councillor at the moment. I'm looking at all business, the sociological side of things in business. How does it interrupt in our business? Maybe their business too close to a suburban area in a stage of criminology. Anyway, as a member, if you want to become a member, you can play a key role in the party, supporting the work we're doing in government and contributing the ideas, policies and future of the party. You'll be invited to join us at party conference and to attend local and national events. And if you're just joining us, once you've been a member for 3 months, you can also take part in the party elections. To reduce our environmental impact, we are no longer issuing plastic membership cards. Please be assured that this does not impact your membership. You will never be asked to produce a card to provide your membership. Our members are our most important campaigners. Your support is enabling us to build a bright future. It's only about, I think it's £25 a year. I think it's £2 a month. You pay over a month. You feel you like that, have a takeaway at the weekend or have a takeaway once a week. It's nothing, is it? It's nothing at all. Or go to the pub, spending money on, just cut down the activities. You want to help have your voice heard. It's very important. What your membership gets you, does it get you fish and chips? Well, what's it get you? it's very important to subscribe to Proclamation News and Gavin. It's giving you the key evidence of what's entailed of signing up with a party. I'm conservative. I always say it's bona fide conservative and working on progressive progression. You can help us win elections. All of your subscription goes towards our campaigns. It gets the latest from inside the party, with regular member updates and exclusive member invites. Take part in our campaign groups like our Conservative Women's Organisation, the Young Conservatives, or Conservative Friends. The Conservative Friends Group. Meet like-minded people and make a difference to our country. The influence party policy by giving feedback on policy and the briefs. Choose candidates and vote for leadership elections, so you can choose the people you want to represent you. Come to party conference and spring forum. Join our MPs, councillors and activists at the biggest events of the Conservative calendar. Connect with local Conservatives as a member. You'll become part of your local association, support local campaigns and attend social events with members just like you. So it's, it's like, supporting your local football team, supporting the whole environment. Talk about supporting the government. It's being in part of something. It's very important to be part of something. You want to be somebody, you want to go somewhere, so you need to wake up and pay attention. Stand for election as a member. You have the opportunity to stand for election as a Conservative. So if you decide that you want to take part in that democracy, you can. This is Proclamation News and Gavin with the prodigious Diploma Professor at PNG, ladies and gents. Help share and subscribe. I need more listeners. I put a lot of entertainment onto my YouTube channel, singing, all kinds of entertainment, a bit of comedy. I've had a bit of comedy in the recent past. It's worth following my YouTube channel to get an insight. It's good content. It's good. I've got a lot of segments on my YouTube, like an entrepreneur as such. I've got singing, rapping, all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to bring a wider audience into my YouTube channel. It should be a YouTube channel with massive gatherings, but not enough subscribers. So the more subscribers, the more benefit is for me. This is a business, a small growing business. It needs to be backed by the exchequer with a big paycheck, and we get this ball rolling. This is Proclamation News and Gavin with a prodigious Diploma Professor. This has been going for over 2 years now. Media studies since 1994, 95, I believe. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me the time of day. Make sure you tune in. I'm going to be following through my live content just shortly. Take care, my love, and speak soon. Thank you for all the loyal listeners staying in tune. We're going to have some live entertainment shortly as well, ladies and gents. It's coming to the Christmas festival season. We can still have the Christmas spirits sitting live in your living room, watching YouTube, you're enjoying yourself, eating your favourite food, eating your favourite snack, having your favourite fresh drink, maybe alcoholic beverage, watching your favourite show, watching your mini Piers Morgan, watching your mini David Attenborough. It's the prodigious, it's the Proclamation News and Gavin. We're going to have some fun, we're going to enjoy the show. I'm a critical thinker because I'm sitting here 7 days a week. Zero narcotics, zero alcoholism. I read the local news, I read the propaganda, I see things clear. I was great academics in religious studies in youth years, about 13, 14 and 15 growing up at secondary school. Absolutely enjoyed it. I'm back here learning about life today, talking about the rights and wrongs in life, trying to be the next honourable gentleman without committing any criminology. I want to be remembered, not forgotten. I've always done an adequate job, but even put my own life in line. We talk about the propaganda, I'm putting my life in line. I'm talking about criminology as well as I'm talking about environmental and how people socialise and anti-socialise. Thank you so much. Talk about qualitative and quantitative evidence. Everything you read in propaganda is not always qualitative evidence, unless it's been through a judiciary hearing, and nothing's to say in a judiciary sense.
that they've made qualitative evidence as the final outcome, because sometimes they take quantitative evidence about visual qualitative evidence as gospel, give that person a slap on the wrist before going years down the line into further judiciary sentence. When the accused has been accused, and he later pleads not guilty when he's in prison. Because, you know, if someone said I'm guilty for murder because I was a necessity, what's to say that you're going to feel so low? I've never been in that situation before. What's to say that you feel so much anxiety that you knew you was there, that you're just going to go, yeah, I'm guilty. If you want to make me accountable for this action, take me accountable for it. Because you would. Best mate was driving the vehicle, but you don't want to get into trouble. But you knew you went out in that car intoxicated, just as your best mate was intoxicated in the car and you was a passenger. But it was your best mate at the steering wheel. It was your best mate that ordered that you're going out. His girlfriend kicked him in the house and doing narcotics and alcoholism perhaps, and went out in the car. And he killed an innocent innocent child, innocent person crossing the road. Or, I don't know, maybe he went to the shop and he took a chainsaw out, but because he got kicked out of the house, he went with him. He's going for a bit of a... Anyone can have this given surge if you're hanging about that environment of alcoholism, just alcoholism alone. They're not with narcotics induced. Alcoholism alone can lead to violence, can lead to mental health, can lead to mental rehabilitation, can lead to provocation. Anyway, moving on, ladies and gents. This show is building a great rapport, absolute popular. People listening, finding it, you know, adamantly in charge of what I'm saying, what I'm producing. I'm not producing everything out of text, out of faction propaganda. It's all religiously coordinated within a pragmatic and optimistic mind. Listen to this. Cocaine made Witham man steal from his family as he battled £600 a day habit. Wow. When I was in my addiction, I used to exist, but I didn't live. I was a stat, and now I live a life. Always turned his life around and says, really haven't changed his life. £600 a day habit. How did you get £600 a day to pay for the habit? An ex-cocaine addict turned his life around when gambling at age 11 to only leaving the house to see his drug dealer. Paul Forty from Witham, Essex, when using cocaine at the weekend with his friends, to relying on it to get through his day, says some days spending up to £600 on the white stuff. During his late 20s and early 30s, Paul was crippled by the addiction and found himself manipulating and stealing from his family just to get his next fix. But following an urgent admission to hospital, the seriousness of Paul's addiction hit home and he decided enough was enough. Paul had been clean since June the 25th, 2018, and he now wants to share his story to help others battling with addiction. The slippery slope into drug addiction, Paul's addiction didn't start with drugs, it actually started with gambling. At the age of 11, Paul's stepdad passed away and the trauma led him to start gambling. He said that I didn't agree. I felt hard done by, I felt punished, but when you're a child, you can't process that kind of thing. When he left school, he started using fruit machines, and it was then he realised he had an addictive personality. Fast forward 16 years and Paul's addiction had morphed from gambling to using Class A drugs. Imagine that, putting your family in absolute distraught, and then your dad's gone for trauma and killed himself. He's got a big picture of £600 a day on cocaine. His eyeballs are staggering. He looks a mess. Paul's drug addiction began when he was 27 years old, and it took over his life for the next 10 years. Initially, he started using cocaine on the weekend for recreational use, but he soon ballooned out of control, and he said, before I knew it, I was enlightenment. In the pigs of Paul's addiction, he snorted around 6 grams of cocaine every day, which cost him around £600. He would spend days on end, confined in his bedroom, avoiding leaving his home unless he was to meet his dealer. Paul said, I couldn't live without it, I couldn't function without it. I'd miss out on a lot of family occasions because I wanted to use more and see them. That's disgusting. I would do anything to get the next thing. I manipulated my parents and stole my family, but at that time, you don't care because addiction is selfishness and you do whatever it takes. Addiction is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Imagine your idea of hell and times it by 1 million. That's where I was. You just can't see a way out of it. It's a slow killer. I always suffered with mental health and depression and anxiety. Rather than dealing with that, I distracted myself by using it. Little did I know I was making my mental health worse. It made me feel invincible. Taking drugs overwhelms the body with a roller coaster of emotions. Describing the good, Paul said, you feel invincible, you feel happy, like you take the world on. But it doesn't last long, and that's why you chase the next feeling. You don't want that feeling to end, that's why you keep using it. The other extreme feelings, Paul experienced, were very much parallels, he said. You sometimes feel like you're on the verge of a heart attack, but at the same time you don't care. You just think, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Paul somehow managed to continue working in the finance sector while he was using drugs, and his parents remained oblivious to drug addiction. How can you keep a job in the finance sector and do that much cocaine on a daily basis? Absolutely wouldn't like to think. Until day one, when he was 34, he had a breakdown at work and was signed off sick with mental health problems. His life spiraled out of control. When he was 37, he was rushed to Brookfield Hospital when doctors told him he would only have 3 months to live if he continued taking drugs. He said, when I heard that, I saw my mum's reaction. I think a light bulb came on. I looked at her eyes and could see her heart was breaking inside, and I realised I can't do this anymore because not only am I destroying my life, I'm destroying the people I love with it. Seeking help and starting rehab, Paul decided it was time to make a change and turn his life around, and took cocaine for the last time on June 25th, 2018. 2 days later, he attended assessment in Open Road in Chelmsford, an established drug and alcohol recovery support charity. I turned up and I was scared as hell, Paul said. I didn't know what to expect. Initially, I thought I'd be locked up in a room and would have to detox over a period of time, but I wasn't fully aware of what rehab was going to be like. My dad gave me a big hug and I broke down in tears before I even got in there. I don't think my parents realised how bad it was until that moment. Paul attended a number of sessions at Open Road over a number of weeks before completing an 8-week rehabilitation program at Sharp in Braintree. 6 days at a time from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Paul underwent his rehabilitation at Sharp, which he described as very full-on and tiring. Paul, along with 3 others on his program, successfully completed an 8-week treatment program. He said, I felt proud. I felt like I was starting to get my life back, but I knew as soon as 8 weeks were over, that's when the hard work starts. As much as was also scared to what was in the next chapter. Paul is now 2 years and 6 months clean from drugs, and has been starting studying at Abbey University to work towards his dream of becoming an addiction counsellor. He said, my focus is now myself. I'm a massive believer in self-love. If you can't love yourself, you can't love another. When I look in the mirror, now I smile because I like what I see. I like who I am, and that's huge. You can't do it for anybody else. You can't do it for yourself. Paul said, you've got to want it. You've got to do it for anybody else. You have to do it for yourself. If you want to make a change, you need to reach out. You need to contact maybe initially your GP, or you can just walk into Open Road. You don't need an appointment. If you're at the point and you're thinking about what's the next, just use the services available. It's life changing. But Paul fears that the services are going to be stretched because of global pandemic this year. And worries for those who have been unable to reach out and seek help. I mean, I don't know if we've all been part of a problem growing up. If it's alcohol, narcotics addiction. I've had a moment. I've had a bit of a mental breakdown. I'm quite secluded. I'm quite observant person. Quite a solitary person when it comes to mindfulness. When it comes to thinking what I want to be. I've got a lot of aspirations to live up to in my family. I've got a lot of aspirations to live up to what I want to be when I grow up. So I don't like to get broken down in these. So you get put in a circle of socialism. You get put in a circle of socialism. And physically, socialism is worse. When you have to meet friends out, they're the sort of worst friends to have around you. I broke away from that. I was an expert in boxing. I was an expert in football, soccer in the UK. I always had big groups of friends. It's just joking. I was a known person because it was good sport. I broke away from that social lockdown. My social lockdown now is social media, and I love it. I think everyone's beautiful from the outside in. From the outside in of the world, my outlook on the world now is absolutely wonderful because I'm on the inside looking out and I talk to people over the phone and I hear their beautiful voice, and that's exactly what I want to think. Almost like a David Attenborough, his outlook of life, of the resources, the environment, industrialisation, everything, globalisation, everything of life. I like to hear people's voices, what they get up to on their day-to-day regime, what qualities they've got, what can they bring to the table of success. Are they a turning speaker? Have they got their own motivation? What's their go-to? What's their get-up? That kind of things. They're the people I like to talk to. What's something about maybe an artist or a rapper, a music artist, any kind of artist, anything, reading abilities, meditation. I've got great reading ability. It's what I do day in, day out. It's part of my study. My academic integrity is arts and humanities. I just finished my business management course, and I'm hoping just to build a bigger, better establishment on Castbox and YouTube. Hello there, Miri. Hello, Live. I'll be with you in a bit, guys. I'm doing some singing this afternoon in about 15 more minutes. Anyway, Paul has said one of the main causes people use boredom. And when we went full lockdown in March, I felt so sorry for people that were in recovery because the services shut down then. I think we need to look at not just addiction but mental health too. As I'm sure that lockdown has been affected hugely by that. I think the services will be stretched when the pandemic is over. I think the government needs to invest more money in mental health service. Addiction doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care who hurts it, who it hurts. It affects every generation. You're always going to be out, which is why we need to help and support available. For any addict who recovers, it's a miracle, and I'm always going to be an addict. But the difference is, I'm an addict in recovery now. If you seek help with an addiction, you can contact Open Road by clicking on their website. I mean, anyone that's got an addiction, you've got an addictive personality, haven't you? You've got an addictive personality. I've got addictive personality. When I smoke, I don't smoke like an average person. I smoke like a person gone out of fashion. I'm not going to say I haven't been a narcotic user or an alcoholic user. I'm moving forward, years and years on. I'm in my maturity age. I've got siblings. I don't talk about my flaws in that. Because I'm a mature adult. I'm growing wise with age. I'm growing wise with knowledge. You're talking about my youth. I'm in the prime of my adult age almost. The prime of my fatherhood. It is the prime of my fatherhood. I'm almost my grandfather in a few more years. So yeah, I'm prime in my fatherhood, 37 years of age. 37 years of age. I'm the prime of my fatherhood. So they're talking about what this guy's going through. Have I been there? It's not in the equation. But let me tell you, anyone that's going through any mental health, people have their condolences, lose their loved ones go to window. And the only way they can get by it is not time of forbearance. They have to subsidise their pain with fueling it with these substances, unfortunately. But realistically, theoretically, real world, the only cure for pain is time and forbearance. Time. When we do any computer course, they say always rely on time management. Everyday life, we need time management to cure everything. You can if I was on my radio for 5 hours a day, I can overproduce, and I won't have to do tomorrow. I might need 2 days off because I've got a headache. I'm overproducing. I'm doing too much. It's like my artwork. I'm trying to produce too much artwork in one go. I've done six pieces of artwork in about a space of about a week, and only 4 bits have come out really good. Predominantly come out actually contemporary visual artwork, because I've watched it. If I'd done all 6 pieces and took like 2 days a piece, all 6 of them would have come out good. I took the time. We talk about time management. Time management is the miracle cure to anything. There's no point me dying in a bottle of Jack Daniels because my cat died. Would your mum, say for the worst case scenario, you lost your mum and dad. I think the mum and dad then wanted you to go and sit over her graveyard drinking a bottle of vodka on top of her graveyard. She would turn over her grave. You've got to keep yourself strong. You're offspring of your parents. You want the best send off for them, and they want the best life for you. That you're their offspring. They've left the legacy for you to follow. That's your aspiration in life. When you see a star in the sky shining, looking over you, you don't be sitting there on the grave drinking a bottle of JD. Your parents are going to be thinking, what on earth have I given birth to? What on earth have I given birth to? You want that light to shine down on you to make you realise, I had faith in my son. I had faith in my daughter. They were spectacular. I raised a saint. Think safety, think first. Do not enter your vehicle under the influence of alcohol and narcotics. Do not drive your vehicle while operating a mobile phone or eating. Do not enter your vehicle without fastening your seatbelts and your baby the seat adjacent to the car seat and seat safety belts adjacent to the car seat around it. Check your MOT is updated. Check your oil in the engine coolant tank to make sure they're both topped up to maximum level. Check your tyres are not bald. Check your PSI limit is sufficient. Direction of choice, making sure motorcyclists and cyclists not overtaking and making sure people not crossing over zebra crossings as well. Make sure they cross the road fully before merging. Check for police road safety signs. Also check for police safety signs, signal signs. Anyway, as we're moving on, St Osyth fatal crash. Think safety, think first. What proclamation gathered. St Osyth fatal crash. Motorcyclist killed and hit and run. This was reported today. A motorcyclist has died following a serious hit and run at St Osyth, Essex, yesterday evening, Friday, December the 18th. Emergency services were called to Pump Hill at around 5:20 p.m. after reports that a biker has come off his motorcycle in the GP garage. This is right near my mum and dad's house. I might know who this is. I might even know the driver, so I'm going to get into the news. Hopefully some news that's been at the scene and know who the drivers were. Sadly, despite the best efforts of emergency services, the biker, who was from Clacton, died at the scene. A short time later, officers found a BMW X5 abandoned in St Clair's Road. Officers also made 3 arrests. St Clair's Road is right off my mum's old road. A local man and a woman, both aged 58, another local woman aged 35, were all arrested on suspicion of cause of death by dangerous driving. Driving whilst unfit for drink and drugs. Failed to stop at the scene of collision. All 3 of them remain in police custody. Essex Police are now appealing for witnesses to come forward. Anyone who was in the area at the time or has any information on the footage is urged to contact the police. Please call 101 or enter a report on Essex Police website if you have any information. You must quote incident number 872 on 18th December. If you have information but you want to give anonymously, you can do so at Crime Stoppers online by calling 0800 555 111. In Clapton, ladies and gents, it's happened. This is yesterday. I'm not going to put a name to it, but it's just, it's in the news, it's propaganda. I'm reading that, what I see. It's simple as that. It's a shock. I always say, do not enter a vehicle under narcotics or alcoholism or sleep deprivation. It's happened. Or pay the price. You pay the price. It's as simple as that. I don't know what led them to that, so I'm not going to write the person off. It could be anything that led them to be, driving out of fashion, driving out of the extraordinary, driving out of character. I'm not going to write them off because it might not have been that hard. It might be a situation, like I say, the sociological differences could subsidise your virtue. They could be getting bullied by certain crowds, or they might just be that way inclined to attract that attention. I don't know. So it's mental health in certain situations. You get bullied in that sector. You see it happen to the most adequate people in the world. They don't